welcome to the stage Preston Bice of DXC, Vasudha Raman of Wipro. Come on up. Here we go. And you just met Ryan Lewis of SpaceNet, who will come up and join us as well. All right, take it away, Adam.
Thank you. And thanks for joining the panel. Thanks for being here. So just met Ryan. I'll give a little bit more detailed bio for him. So he's SVP and Director of Cosmic Work, which you just heard about, and helped to found SpaceNet. It's a nonprofit LLC organization run in collaboration with Maxar Technologies, AWS, Intel AI, Capella Space, and Topcoder.
Can I join every other panel from now on?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, you don't even have to leave.
All right.
We also have Preston Bice. Preston is a product manager with DXC Technology and has responsibility for their Rapid Digital Delivery, RDD program that uses the Topcoder platform. So he has 25 years of experience in the IT services industry, holding various roles including business development, consulting, and application service delivery. Thank you, Preston, for being here. And Vasudha Raman. Vasudha is currently the regional business head for the retail, distribution, and transportation unit of Wipro. She's enabled customers in enterprise-wide IT transformation journeys, the creation of shared services units, cloud migration, and digital transformation. And most importantly, she has firsthand experience using Topcoder for mobile app development and data science projects, and is one of Topcoder's biggest evangelists within Wipro. So thank you all three for being here again. I want to start out by talking a little bit about our partnerships, right? So each partnership is a little bit different. So what does that partnership look like for your organization, and how do you use Topcoder? Is it internal projects? Is it client projects? Is it specific talent pools? And then Vasudha, for you, maybe if you want to start us off, would love your perspective also on the relationship between Topcoder and Wipro.
Sure. I don't think I need a mic. So first off, Michelle, I did, skip a step coming in so we can keep scores. Let me know. Yeah, fantastic. Yesterday I was having dinner with a gentleman from AWS, and I mentioned this, and it might be worthwhile telling the story again. I said to him that Topcoder is Wipro's unplanned child. The most beautiful unplanned child, which turned out. So when we actually brought Wipro into our ecosystem, we did not realize what we got along with it. We got the hen which lays the golden egg, and since then we've diversified and taken Topcoder and built it under our technology and innovation arm. So very, very privileged to have this to have Topcoder platform as a part of our ecosystem today. The way our organization uses Topcoder today is actually threefold. I can put them in three buckets. The first way is we've launched something called as TopGear. TopGear is our internal crowdsourcing platform. So out of the 180,000 employees that Wipro has, about 50,000 have subscribed to this crowdsourcing platform. And the platform is used for upskilling resources for workforce transformation. So what that fundamentally means is that, hey, if I am a QA tester and tomorrow I want to learn Python, or I want to do coding for dashboards, I can get on TopGear, get trained on it, and then participate in challenges and get myself a rating and know where I stand. So we use it for that. Second thing, our CIO office, which runs so many programs, I mean, all our travel system, our appraisals, everything, what have you. So the CIO group runs challenges and uses this platform where our internal resources can come in and participate with these challenges. The second way we use it is account specific for our customers. For specific set of accounts, we've developed this platform so all their employees, internal plus Wipro, can participate in projects or challenges which require higher speed or which require to be completed in it's very complex to solve. As an example, for one of our customers in Wisconsin, a retailer, they had about 175 test cases to be done within one sprint cycle. And they could not have done that unless they automated it. But by the time they realized that they wanted to automate it and the project timeline, there wasn't enough window of opportunity because even if they had put 4 or 5 resources, they need 1.5 months. So we went on to Topcoder. So this was a very account-specific thing. 25 resources got on board, and we finished it off in about 15 days. So that's the second way we use it. And the third way, of course, the most popular way is the Topcoder platform by itself, which goes out to our broader set community of our customers for enterprise-grade projects. And that's where I have customers based out of Dallas, as well as other locations who run projects on the platform itself.
All right, so using it across the entire spectrum.
Yes, today we are across, but I think that the possibilities are multiple. We are actually in conversations with companies such as AWS to look at different partnership models which can further this beyond. But today we have leveraged this platform in these three ways which are successfully being implemented.
That's great, thanks. Preston, how about DXC?
Yeah, so for us, we've leveraged Topcoder and the crowd really to develop a go-to-market offering. We call it rapid digital delivery. For us, we really use it in three different ways. One is Topcoder and the crowd as the core delivery mechanism for the offering. We have deployed that globally across all regions and all the industries that we serve. We also use it so that we can take existing accounts, existing delivery teams that are on the ground that may need additional capacity, additional skill sets that they need to flex against the existing projects that they have with the crowd. We've also used it internally. That's more of a limited basis for us. But our strategy around Topcoder and the crowd is really a new go-to-market capability for us that really extends and allows us to begin to pivot toward the way work gets done in the gig economy, if you will.
Fantastic, thanks.
And then for us, perhaps the best way to highlight kind of our motivation to originally reach out to Topcoder dates back to 2015. And I remember we had just formed the lab, and we were all excited about focusing on applying computer vision to satellite imagery, and we thought, there's got to be a lot of people that are focused on this. And essentially, it was like two people committing some code on OpenCV, and we're like, wow, this is really grim. And our big thought was, all right, well, what's a community that can really help bring not just attention, but real capabilities to this problem? And after Topcoder, or talking with Topcoder, it was such a great fit. And so our primary use over the years has been on the platform side, obviously through all the different challenges. But with Topcoder now being also a partner, having all of you included in sort of strategic conversations about what we should be doing next, from what data sets are interesting to what analytic challenges are interesting, and maybe even doing some sub challenges outside of our normal 2 a year. So it's been a really evolving relationship beyond the platform in this past year.
That's right. I mean, most partnerships that we have at Topcoder start out as a customer relationship, and then we'll move on to a partnership model. So John Windsor this morning talked a little bit about the trends that he's seen and the kind of broader open talent community, and how those trends lead him to believe that we're at that chasm, right, between early adopters and the early majority. So the three of you and your companies are talking with clients every day. I'm interested in trends and patterns that you're seeing that are influencing the need for a platform like Topcoder.
Okay. Talking about trends, I'm going to divide it into three aspects. One is what are our customers doing? I mean, everybody in the room has either initiated or in the middle of at the tail end of the digital transformation journey. And digital transformation has in turn brought in the need for upskilling your internal resources to be able to tap into the market for varied technologies and skill sets, whether it be AI, robotics, data science, blockchain. It's not something that the organization can achieve very quickly with just their internal resources. So the trends with the customer side is they're wanting to achieve a lot more with little time without the availability of talent that they need to be able to achieve those digital transformations. On the technology front, top 10% of enterprise application vendors are rewriting their technology such that 90% is API-based, so it can talk to others. So they're making it lighter. They're making it easier to talk to others so that you can decompose the way they are being written or coded. And lastly, we're talking about the talent pool. The youngest Topcoder candidate yesterday, I met him in the elevator. He was 8 years old. What do you think that drives them? Flexibility, the need to be able to freelance. There's 40% of US which is freelancing today. So the availability of talent and today is that of people who don't want to be tied down to an enterprise. So putting together, if you triangulate between these three, between what the customers need, between what's happening with the technology vendors and how they're transforming the technology, and where the talent is available, that's where we see the common path is to look at platforms such as Topcoder to be able to service. So that's the pattern that we are seeing, which makes our customers look more towards platforms such as Topcoder.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, we see similar things in the marketplace from talking to our customers, right? For us, it's a business conversation. It's about the pace of change, both in terms of their business, technology. They all recognize that there is this need to transform from a digital perspective to get closer to their customers, a degree of intimacy with their customers. You hear that all the time, and that's not news to this group. But it's both in terms of opportunities for them to expand their business, but also to fend off competitive threats. Right? It's something that they have to do to stay relevant. At minimum, stay at parity. But I think what we hear from them, they struggle, particularly a lot of our larger companies that we deal with, less agile. I mean, they struggle to have a incubation engine, right? An innovation mindset. There's a lot of legacy processes and governance and thinking that slows them down, right? To your point, there is this need for an expanded community of interest. Relying on your staff for thought leadership is not enough anymore, and even your partners in many cases. It's a different perspective, it's different capabilities that are required. And I think it's pretty amazing what can happen if you take your problem set and give it to 1 million people to noodle on, right? You never know what you're going to get back. And I think they recognize that. They also recognize the fact that because of the pace of change, the resource model that we all grew up with in terms of how you deliver software, that's resume-based and FTE-based, it's a degree of barrier that is standing in the way of changing fast enough, right? And they need a way not only to tap into the skills, but they need a way to, in a very efficient way, map their demand to that supply at will, so you acquire and you release that capability when you need it, because they never know what they're going to get hit with, right? And while those trends are not unique to Topcoder or not unique to the crowd in any way, it is a critical element, I think, in terms of how we pivot to the gig economy and how it helps solve some of those challenges that our customers are facing.
In the geospatial domain, and arguably more broadly in computer vision, we really see two major trends that are sort of influencing the challenges, and then more broadly the community. Sort of first is an increasing focus on deployability or usability. When we first started, and there was some other work in the domain, a lot of it was very exploratory, or at best, in some cases, aspirational. So the results and the expectations that came along with different competitions were somewhat lower. Fast forward to where we are today, and there's much more of a discussion about how projections or outputs from models will be used by end users. Case in point in our world, in the mapping domain, what level of quality is appropriate to then have a human provide final validation for a mapping set. This is a real conversation that's happening, and as a result, it changes how we think when we want to structure a challenge. And what's interesting, and I think I just saw Balazs drop his head or shake his head, is it makes the challenges much more harder, right? Each time we release something, it's one step additional, which is both exciting but challenging to all the community participants. I think the second thing, and this is perhaps more tailored to the mapping domain, is that there's an increasing focus on generalizability, particularly for like humanitarian response. You may be dealing with end users that don't have significant compute at the edge. And so they don't have perhaps the resources to do significant model retraining when new data are collected. And so when Adam mentioned in the previous talk that we had a mystery city, the whole motivation for that was to encourage participants to build solutions that we hope are a little bit more generalizable and not tuned to one individual geographic domain. That's why we're so excited about seeing the results come out of this most recent competition.
Awesome, thanks. I think this is probably relevant for all of you, but definitely for Preston and Vasudha. You mentioned that you use Topcoder with your clients. Do they always know you're using crowdsourcing for part of the delivery? And if so, what's their reaction? Have you seen that reaction change over time?
Why don't you go first for a change?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so look, our intention is to be very transparent with our customers about not only leveraging the crowd for delivery, but also our partnership with Topcoder. We are, our belief is, look, you can't sell the value proposition of speed and quality and output-based choice without talking about the crowd and without talking about our partnership. So, our intention is to be very transparent with our customer. I think in terms of their reaction, and I think about it from, a meeting one with a client, there's a degree of body language, right? They're interested, they're intrigued, they kind of sit up in their chair, you can see the wheels turning, thinking about the possibilities of crowdsourcing. And they get it, right? I mean, they understand the value prop in terms of speed and output based delivery, but they quickly always turn to, well, what about security? Who owns the IP, confidentiality, consistency, quality? They struggle to get past some of those things because, we've got this mindset of how we deliver software, again, that's FTE based and resume based. I think, at least for us, there's still more work that we've got to do to get some of our customers over that hump, to get them comfortable with, delivering software with the crowd.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. So I think the customers who roll their eyes when we talk about crowdsourcing are the same set of customers who rolled their eyes when we said we would offshore your work. They're the same set of customers when we said we would do shared services in an offshore model. And they're the same customers who are still rolling their eyes when we talk about crowdsourcing. So I think, but they've taken the journey, right? They've taken offshoring, outsourcing the work wasn't known of. Offshoring wasn't known of. Shared services offshoring wasn't known, and now it's crowdsourcing. So I think they've taken the journey. What's also helped is the fact that they're actually moving their workloads out of the data centers to the cloud. So once they move it to the cloud, ergo, you're already opening up a window of opportunity for working on the public cloud. So that kind of opens up stuff. The experience that I've had with my customers is that the first project that you will initiate within your organization, that one's going to take all the heat. That one's going to go through all the checks and balances through your legal, through your security. But once you get over that hump, then it's much easier to run projects. So the first time, yes, they have a lot of questions. In terms of being transparent, I think most of my customers have wanted to adopt the gig economy or the crowdsourcing. So it's been more about how does it work, how does security work. It's more about them being convinced rather than we wanting to not tell them about it. Of course, there are models in which a large fixed price project can be broken down internally in terms of how we deliver it. But the way we look at it, we're going to have onshoring, we're going to have offshoring, and we're having crowdsourcing. It's just going to be a model in which we service our customers. So there will be full transparency in it.
Great. Ryan, for you, satellite imagery historically has been the domain of governments and research institutions, right? So how is our partnership expanding access to these data sets? And then kind of picking up on a couple of the topics here, how do you manage data privacy, confidentiality, and data sets that, that's usually a big concern?
Yeah, one of the core things that we've sort of learned over the years is that initially, and we still see it today, there's a thought that it's just a matter of building or providing access to labeled data or quality data. And if companies or organizations or institutions put out that information, an ecosystem will naturally occur around it. And perhaps that's the case in other domains, but I often think about, as does our team and all of our partners, think if we were all sort of researchers and we wanted to target a project, and there was limited data, there weren't really great benchmark models, and software was hard. Just show of hands, how many people here have worked with GDAL? Maybe any geospatial people? You're all safe then. It's great, I'm not trying to knock it, but it's a lot of work. And so you put all of that in front of you, and it's certainly a demotivator relative to all the other applications people can focus on. And so for us, it wasn't just a matter of figuring out what data sets are interesting. It was also a matter of figuring out how do we connect with people that are thoughtful in this domain that can help jumpstart a lot of work that is going to be very relevant to a wide variety of applications. And it's been really cool when the metrics follow and then exceed your expectations, in the sense that from the point of our first release of the outputs from SpaceNet 1 and then SpaceNet 2, where we really saw strong results, particularly in some geographic domains, suddenly the downloads of the data set, feedback from some of our software, some of our future projects were informed by that feedback, just skyrocketed. Yeah. And that really serves as a big motivator for us, not just to keep doing what we're doing, but then also to elicit their feedback on what's interesting. And so it's really become this sort of continuous feedback loop, which has been great. One of the core things when you're putting out any type of data set, though, to your second part of the question, is you need to be cognizant of what you're releasing and to make sure it's appropriate. And I think one of the core things that we've focused on from the beginning is tying ourselves into the broader open source geospatial world that's focused on foundational mapping. There's been, long before we started with our specific focus, there's been excellent work across a wide variety of groups, most notably OpenStreetMap or OSM, and then their spin-off group, Humanitarian OpenStreetMap or HOT. We view ourselves as just an extension of that broader community that's focusing on enabling open source geo.
Great. Okay. All right. We're going to do a couple of rapid questions, 5 words or less. All right.
Okay. So Mad Libs, let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Okay. What's been the effect of adding crowdsourcing to your delivery mix? Is it faster delivery, higher margin, access to talent that you didn't have?
Speed.
Speed.
Make it interesting. Don't say speed.
Speed.
Oh, you can't say speed again. Come on.
Sorry. Certainly performance.
Okay. All right. Okay, so
is it 5 words total? So I used 2, so I got 3 left. I want to know the rules.
But you just added like 7 more. So.
I'm out.
Yeah. Great partnerships always evolve, right? So how do you, when you think about our partnership in 2 years or 5 years, what does it look like? This one you can have 10 words if you need it.
Okay.
Okay, so I think the future rests where the people in this room are going. It's to do a lot with, after coming to a crowdsourcing conference, how are you going to go back and change the perception to start the journey? And I think that's where the change begins. I think the possibilities are, it's an ocean out there. There's a lot you can do. There are complex problems that can be solved. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to be a citizen developer in the future. So we look at
way more than 10 words.
Multiple revenue models. That's why I said the possibilities are infinite, and I will leave the future of crowdsourcing with the people in this room.
It's 10 sentences. That was good.
Yeah, for us, I would say natural, integral. Today we view the world as core, DXC delivery, crowdsourcing. In the future, if the problem set, the workload fits in the crowd, it's just a natural extension.
Yeah.
Growth. All right. Now, our focus is adding more partners that continues to build out a broader ecosystem. One of the big, I think, benefits from the results of these challenges have been competitors to either submit papers or results to some of the leading, in our case, computer vision conferences, maybe bringing some of those groups in a more formal way. So this turns into something that, hopefully in our world, serves as a benchmark in the geospatial community, just like ImageNet was, in starting some of the foundational computer vision research that's used in a wide variety of applications today.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to pull from Steve Rader. Now that you're celebrities, what's one thing that people don't know about you?
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I do have one final question, though, and I think this is important, even though we're out of time, and he's trying to tell me to go. I'm going to say it anyways. What's your advice to those that want to use the platform? Maybe it's something that you wish you knew, or something that would have helped you scale or grow when you were starting out, that you think would be relevant for them?
Since you've given me the chance to tell them just one, so I'll limit it to this. I think one of my customers started the journey, and what they did not plan very well through their entire process is to set up a team who can actually catch the ball coming back in. So the code was developed and everything was done on the crowd, and they put it back in, and they were so totally unprepared to catch the ball and take it on. So build a team internally which is ready to take in the challenges from the crowd, integrated with your AD systems, Active Directories, whatever it takes to make it go live. So I think that was an important learning from an active go live project standpoint.
Thanks.
Yeah, same for us, right? I mean, when we started on this journey, we were very focused on what does it mean for crowd delivery and how does that work. But now that we have more of these under our belt, we're coming back to core software development, right? Don't forget about the other things that are important. Project management, domain expertise, relationship with the stakeholder, right? Breaking the problem set into manageable chunks that the crowd can consume easily. And make sure that you have a decision tree. Does it fit or does it not fit, right? Don't try to force fit everything in if it doesn't work.
Okay, things interesting about me, this will probably remove my celebrity immediately, is in addition to coding competitions, I love Lego competitions as well. We can talk more about that offline if you have questions.
I have many. Yes.
Excellent. And then closing thought to anyone who's either new to the platform or just thinking about it, don't underestimate the value and impact of building some initial momentum on whatever problem you have. Sometimes, particularly with machine learning, the first step's the hardest, and once you get going and people using it, iterating on results from that, you'll be stunned at the results you can get.
Great, thanks. We appreciate the partnership. Thank you for that. Thank you for being here as well. Thank you for not coming up and kicking me off.
Thanks a lot.